Hello, guys. Welcome, everybody, to Purple A's podcast. I am your host who bleeds purple and gold, Isaac here. So, football week is officially here, baby. It is finally here after waiting and waiting and waiting after, for the, after the conclusion of the Super Bowl. It usually takes 6 months. We're finally here for the 2024 season as we will get to the Vikings and Giants preview on my next podcast on Friday, but right now I kind of want to touch up, on like a few things, that are definitely some causes of concern, for the Vikings. I mean, there's really nothing really to worry about on like as far as like defensive wise because the cornerback room was kind of suspicious, but now that you have Stephon Gilmore helping, it should be a lot. It should be better. The cornerback room should definitely be better. So I feel better about that, and the defensive linemen should, I think, do fine because now that you have Levi Drake Rodriguez and you got Takis Taimani in there, you should be fine with those guys right there. So I'm feeling like it should do good there. The defense as a whole, nothing really to talk about for the other positions. But three things that I do want to talk about, mainly on offense, really, though, is three things, Three things that I kind of want to talk about. Maybe, you know what, actually, let's just, you know what. I was going to say the tight end, but then TJ Hawkinson, he's going to be returning for 4 games later, so I'm not worried about the tight end, actually. The running back position is kind of one thing, You're kind of like in a situation where you have 2 running backs. It's kind of risky because one could get hurt and you're going to have to dig through your practice squad if they're not taken. I would have gone maybe with 3 tight end, 2 running backs. It's not really the best thing really to do as far as like for the roster, but overall I feel like it should be fine, with the running back position. So I'm not concerned about the talent that we have. It's just the amount of players that we have on there. So I would have put Myles Gaskin. I'm surprised they didn't keep King Kene in there, at least. Okay, Myles Gaskin, I would have understood. But Kene and Wangu, our special teams returner, the quarterback position is what I came to talk about because I was late. I didn't have time, to make a podcast, about Jaren Hall being cut from the 53-man roster. And in the quarterback position, Sam Darnold, he's a wild card. You don't know what kind of player you're going to get out of him, really. If he goes Super Saiyan or he's just the guy that always sees ghosts. You're going to get one of the two, but that is not what I'm worried about. As far as like the game, the backups is what I'm concerned about. You got Nick Mullins and you got Brett Rippon instead of Jaren Hall, who got cut, which I thought, hey, if Jaren Hall is quarterback 2, I'm good with this. I feel like Jaren Hall can absolutely throw some magic out there. We can see what we got in Jaren Hall if we know who he is in the preseason and he does a good job in the regular season with the ones. Hey man, we might have something special out of Jaren Hall. I would rather explore the unknown than explore the known already. But for all intents purposes, what really got me though about like And then when I saw the news, I was like, oh no, we're going to have to rely on Nick Mullins? Really? And what really got me, was Kevin O'Connell's quote, which he said, we only need experience for backups for Sam Darnold. That's what he said. That's what really got me the most about that, and what really just got me the most. It's like, it tells me Kevin O'Connell's only interested in experience instead of what we already know about Nick Mullins and Brett Rypien. Nick Mullins, who was with the Vikings, turned the ball over 10 times with the Vikings last season in 2023. He turned the ball over more than he scored. Brett Rypien's not that much better than Nick Mullins. He's not any better. And yes, he did have a nice preseason, but still, I'm not willing to hold my breath that Brett Rypien's going to do any better. But turning the ball over what was our biggest issue last season? It was turning the ball over. And what does Kevin O'Connell do? Cuts Jaren Hall, and Nick Mullins is the backup. And so, just to be clear though, and Kevin O'Connell already said we need to stop these turnovers. What was it, like week 2 or week 3 from last season? And we are doing this crap. Where we're putting Nick Mullins. You guys know how I feel about Nick Mullins. He sucks. He's only, in his career, Nick Mullins, starting as a quarterback, only has 5 career wins. He's only had 5 wins. And throughout his whole career, he's turned the ball over more than he's scored. That's who he is. If you want experience, he's got experience, all right. Experience sucking, if that's the philosophy of quarterbacks that we're going to get, you got that right. There it is, Nick Mullins. And it reminds me a lot of Sean Mannion and Kyle Sloter. That's what that reminds me of. So that's just one concern, The really only rational thing, because I don't believe Nick Mullins is gonna be any better. He's not gonna improve. Because it just doesn't matter what talent Nick Mullins has. He can have Justin Jefferson. He can have Jordan Addison. He can have a clean pocket. It doesn't matter because he's gonna still turn the ball over. He's still gonna do it. He's still gonna give the team the win. So I don't know what else to tell you, man. It's a head scratcher, no doubt, but you just gotta hope Sam Darnold stays healthy. That is my one hope, because Sam Darnold gives you the best chance to win than Nick Mullins. I'm dead serious, because you're not winning anything with Nick Mullins. I mean, you aren't. So you just gotta pray that Sam Darnold stays healthy, which is possible, but which I shouldn't have to worry about. You shouldn't. You should never have to worry about that, but it's just those little things, when you cut Jaren Hall and replace it with Brett Rypien. And look, man, if you're going to replace, though, a quarterback, I would have gone with somebody else other than Brett Rypien. Maybe Tyler Huntley. He's filled in nicely for Baltimore in the season. He's filled in nicely. But it's just the fact, it just doesn't make sense, what Kevin O'Connell said there or what he's doing. Because turnovers were the biggest issue, and yet Nick Mullins, we're keeping the hero, Nick Mullins, on the field. as a backup to Sam Darnold. But so those are my opinions. I'm not trying to be, some negative Nancy because the season's starting. The season's starting. But for all intents purposes, that's the only concern that I have right now. It's not happening. I mean, the injury hasn't happened yet, so it's just those little roster moves that you make impact a season. So, and that's the bottom line, of what I think. So, if you guys haven't subscribed already, hit the subscribe button and hit that like button if you haven't already. Skol Vikings.